Injuries are plaguing modern football and ruining the game, and we need to have discussion about it because the fixture list is honestly ridiculous. The injury list is honestly ridiculous, and it's ruining the game that I used to love and hold near and dear to my heart.
And with that being said, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Basement Ballers. Injuries, week in, week out. We see them for every team in every shape, every size, and they're honestly not only ruining the game, but they're reducing hype between some of the world football's biggest teams when they go up against each other. Obviously, we have the Clásico at the end of the month. We also had PSG versus Barcelona in a matchup which on any normal occasion would have been two titans clashing, but it was basically Barca B versus PSG B, and it's kind of like impacting excitement for the game, and we wanted to talk about it and get your opinion on it for today. So, Brahim, what are you thinking, bro, as a Barca fan, right? Your team is seemingly picking up injuries every single week at this point. What's going on?
So I pulled up a stat, very interesting stat. So since 2015, there has been an increase of 25% when it comes to injuries related to training, related to, games, blah, 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 blah. Now, my biggest issue right now is I feel like, well, obviously this isn't something that's new. Everyone talks about it. There are obviously too many games in the calendar and too many games that I feel like are useless. Case in point. They added this new tournament, the Club World Cup, during the summer. Okay, cool. Right? But then, why did they still persist with the Nations League, for example, and just meaningless friendlies? Because end of the day, you need to have Euro qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers. We know that. That's fine. But having stuff like the Nations League on top of the Club World Cup, on top of now Barca and Villarreal having a game scheduled in Miami, for example, that's more travel, more wear and tear, whatever. Just the footballing heads are ruining the sport. And as you pointed out, for example, the Clásico comes in 10 days. As of this video, we are Thursday, the 16th of October. So it comes out, the game is in 10 days. Barca, for the moment, are without Lewandowski. Balde is coming back from injury. Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Dani Olmo, Fermin Lopez, Joan Garcia, our goalie, and I believe I'm forgetting someone else. I believe Ferran Torres also picked up a knock as well. Yeah. And Gavi's also out as well.
Of course.
Okay,
yeah.
Now, that obviously not all of them are going to be back for the fixture. What we're hearing is that apparently Rafinha, Lamine, Fermin should be back, right? But still too early for Olmo, Jean Garcia, whatever. But there's that, and also, like you said, the PSG game, which obviously I feel like when the draw came out, everyone was most excited for that game, obviously, between, reigning European champions and Barca, almost made the final last year. And then it became a game of, PSG's whole front three was out. So Dembele, Kvara, and Doué were out. And on Barca, yeah, maybe the injuries were a bit less bad, but we were still missing. We had a basically half-fit Lamine Yamal, and I think anyone with working eyes could have seen that after the first half. The guy wasn't fit, but we still played him. Rafinha, who was out. Fermin, who was out. Lewandowski, who's barely fit, blah, blah. So it's just ruining the game. There's too many fixtures, and now they're adding more teams to the World Cup, adding more teams to the Euros. They're thinking about, they're trying to get it to a point where they're going to start having 2 Prem games a week. That's being discussed. It's just too many fixtures, and honestly, I feel like it just ruins stuff because we want to watch the best players, the biggest games, but if there's always injuries to that, then you know what I mean? It just ruins it.
No, and I agree. And you know what? Not only at the top level of the game, but even on the mid-table, lower level, it has impact that people don't talk about enough because there are teams genuinely in every league across Europe that just don't have money to spend on reserves, backup players of actual real quality. And so what I think over time is obviously because of the big players being out, but you're also going to see a reduction in quality in sort of that mid-table competition because those teams, if they're big players, quote unquote, are injured, they don't really have those backups for them to come in and put in a work. So I feel like you'll start to see between the front end of the table and the back end, the gap will widen, and the quality of football within every league will decrease. The other thing is that sure, you talk about Nations League, which obviously however you think about it, it's a competition that results in a trophy, but I'm more like sort of perplexed by the presence of these international friendlies that quite frankly have no meaning, no purpose. They don't really draw that much attention, news coverage wise, media wise. They're pretty like useless in my opinion. And also there's a discrepancy you see in European football with players depending on where they're from. Like, you have players that sometimes actually have to travel all the way to South America in order to compete in their international friendlies or even the World Cup qualifiers, which ultimately leads to sort of like differences in like how players perform when they come back and availability and things like that. So there's a lot of issues right now. It's all a money grab. It's ruining the game because we can see with our own plain eyes that there's just greed behind it. And then players like, in my opinion, Lamine Yamal, who a lot of us, even if you're not a Barca fan, want to see brother flourish, want to see the brother have a long career. A lot of us look at this brother already having dick issues and like, what the fuck? Like, are we gonna even? Some people are skeptical and saying, are we even gonna see the best of Lamine Yamal?
Yeah, it's like, just case in point, if you look at, for example, with Barca, one thing I noticed like this year is that a lot of the players look very fatigued. And we are now, right now, mind you, we are maybe 7 or 8 games into the new season, like just league-wise, and there's already been 2 international breaks with a third one coming literally in like a month, less than a month. And yeah, we're not going to have an international break after that for at least like 4 months. But then after that international break, that's when a lot of the games start to ramp up. You're going to start to have, like, for the next month or two, it's going to be at least 2 to 3 games a week, basically, per team. Yep. Like, they'll have Champions League, they'll have some Champions League games, some league games, whatever. So the thing is like, they need to be taking care of player welfare. And the biggest example I can use of that is someone like, I'd say, Pedri. Because Pedri, for example, plays pretty much every game for Barca when he's fit, plays every game for Spain, whatever. And he still dishes out world-class performances, don't get me wrong. But even he's looking a bit tired, man. Like, case in point, the Sevilla game. The Sevilla game, I've never seen the dude so tired in my life. Like, it's just... They're literally draining them. And it's not fun for the game. Yeah, maybe they make more money, but, like... Is the sport about money, or it's about the culture, the entertainment, the passion, the desire?
100%. 100%. And bro, we didn't even talk about AFCON. Like
middle and smack dab in the middle of a season, like in January.
Yeah. Imagine you're a team that, like, I mean, I guess in the leagues there's like rules on how many players you can have from certain whatever, and homegrown talent and all that. But you have a team like, obviously my team, Liverpool Football Club, Mo Salah leaving in the middle of a season to go play international competition.
And even back in the day, like, you guys basically would have Mo Salah and Mane go to the AFCON. That's 2 of your starting front 3. Gone for a month. And, luckily they never picked up any injuries, but, the risk
last time he did.
Yeah, he
last
did.
time Salah did, when in the last AFCON, bro came back, I think, with like a thigh strain or something, or a hamstring. Like, so... Now, that was a season where I believe we were still competing with Arsenal and City. That was the season where like it was really close between the top 3 of the Prem, I remember. And he picks up that injury, and he was doing pretty well leading up to that point. And it just wasn't like it wasn't cute, but at the same time, it also like was like, I understand why they have to have AFCON in the middle of like quote unquote winter, because of the weather. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like there could be like other solutions. I don't know, maybe like a global or European break, like actual break in football, where everybody gets to, like, at least, if you're not part of AFCON, at least you get that time to rest. Maybe you could say, oh, well, then the African players, they suffer, quote unquote. But then there's also, like, during the summer, there's also like a lot of European players that are playing and the African players aren't. So it kind of ends up balancing itself out in a way. But that's what they do actually, like in NBA and in like NHL, for example. They have that all-star break where, they're playing that all-star weekend, but there's also like the players get a chance to take a break, take a breather, something like that in football, where in my opinion is actually more intensive on your body because of like the long distances that you have to run. I think could benefit the players in the long term.
Yeah, well, they need to come up with solutions fast, because honestly, I'm tired of basically getting hyped about a new season, have it ruined by injuries. Injuries are part of the game, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these injuries are only because of all the international break stuff, because obviously injuries have always been part of the game. But players are speaking about how there's too many games. Managers are speaking about it. And these international teams are not doing the best at taking care of their players. Case in point, Spain, because this piece of shit, this bald piece of shit, De La Fuente, has basically ruined the career of Gavi, is trying to ruin Lamine, got freaking Dani Olmo injured, and might get Pedri injured. I mean, thank God Pedri hasn't been injured yet, but the point is, like, managers at international level need to take care of their players more. I feel like clubs should have the right to refuse to send their players on international duty, especially if it's for useless friends. If it's for qualifiers, I get it. Most of the time, the players want to go anyway. But for friendlies, clubs should have
Yeah,
reserve
but
the right.
then-
End of the day, clubs are the one paying the wages. Clubs are the ones who stand to lose the most from these not having their players. Blah 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 blah. Like,
Yeah, but don't you think that gives too much power to the clubs?
well, they're the clubs are the ones paying the wages. The clubs are the ones who are giving them a career. End of the day, there has to be a solution because it's getting ridiculous, and I'm tired of having this many injuries this early. Like these type of like, okay, every team has like injury crisis. Don't get me wrong, but like they should normally come, let's say, middle to end of the season. It's not normal that we're a month and a half or 2 months into the season, already half the team is injured.
No, and like it is. I think the most frustrating part is literally, oftentimes what's happening is leading up to the games. Is when you find out, oh, this guy's not going to play, this guy's not going to play. So any hype that gets built up beforehand, this has happened in PSG game at the end of the day. Any hype that gets, leads up beforehand, day or two before, it just dies. And like most of us are still going to watch the game, don't get me wrong. But we wanted to see that Dembele, Rafinha clash, the Doué, Yamal. We want to see these storylines play out, but we don't get to. And I'm going to leave this video on this final thought, which I think is actually pretty important. In a world with aging medical advancements, technology, medical devices, recovery methods, and all this, injury records are still going up, right? So despite the fact that all these new training facilities, they got all the new gadgets, all the new tech, all the money being invested in these recovery methods, players are still getting injured, and there has to be sort of some kind of causation. And it's the sheer number of games that these players are playing. And we believe as football fans, yes, it's amazing to see our national teams, our clubs play all these games from a viewer perspective, but we want to play them we want to watch them while they're playing at their best. So yeah, that's the video. Guys, let us know what you guys thought about everything that we discussed in today's video. Injuries, part of the game, of course, but is there a way to mitigate? That is a question we throw to you. Without further ado, guys, Basement Ballers on every platform: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Discord. Keep the Discord.
Keep that shit. Click that link in the bio. Become part of the Ballers Academy, where we always talk about footy amongst some of the best in our community. Without further ado, guys, we appreciate all your support. Like, comment,
Subscribe.
and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.